begins. Democrats now calling for more cultural dominance, praising Hasan Piker, saying we must support individuals like this. Now, Fox News ain't pulling any punches. They say top Harris aide hypes radical activist who said America deserved 9/11 while plotting future for Dems. House Democrat called Hasan Piker a poster child for the post-October 7th outbreak of anti-Semitism in America earlier this year. Me, oh my. Well, basically what we're seeing right now is Democrats recognizing that they've lost cultural control. The corporate press is no longer what it used to be. And as I've been warning, especially in the previous video, the big players, Disney, Comcast, you name it, they are going to dump money in this space, and they will make sure that these voices rise to the top. Now, I don't believe Hasan Piker is in the path of that trampling that is underway because he's too, I don't know, anti-Israel, I guess.
Uh-oh, here we go. The anti the country again. Tim Pool coming in with his blue and white cape to cape for a country that has nothing to do with us. I will go over why Tim Pool is a little bit right, mostly wrong. I'm going to go over why we're going to talk about Hasan Piker, and I'm listening to Hasan Piker more nowadays than I do Tim Pool. And for the last 4 years, I've probably listened to almost every single episode of Timcast IRL. And these are like 3 hour or 2.5 hour shows. Timcast going after Tim Pool on Timcast, going after Hasan Piker. And Tim Pool's wrong here. He's trying to go at Hasan Piker, but I'm siding more with Hasan Piker, even though I understand the problems with Hasan Piker.
Now, I think if you are going to play up, like look at Twitch and the adpocalypse where he is. Many people are blaming him for this. Advertisers don't want to touch things where they're going to get accused of any isms. Let's roll, baby. The left is going to say they're defending Israel. The right, well, a lot of people on the right are going to say they're defending Israel too. Let me put it this way. Corporations don't care if it's Israel or black people or gay people or otherwise. Corporations don't want shock and defense regardless of where it comes from. Now, the people who are very Israel-centric, be it for or against, are going to claim that they're the perceived victim, whatever it may be. The reason why I think Hasan Piker is not going to get chosen in this regard is because corporations are going to say he evokes too much negative attention as it pertains to offense. Now, if you're a channel that's critical of some things, maybe gay marriage, something like that, you'll probably still get some advertisers, but it's a sliding scale.
Yeah, Tim Pool is really disappointing here in his take. It's almost like he's just, hey, I'm just giving you the news is what Tim Pool is trying to do on his Timcast show now when we talk about the New Jersey-sized country, and that's what he's talking about here. People say that Tim Pool says everybody else has some type of derangement syndrome with that country. But every time I look at Tim Pool, he's trying to shield for that country. I look at our own representatives, and recently our own spokesperson, John Kirby, is putting on a tiny hat to bend the knee for them. And other people are the ones obsessed. Tim Pool can't have an honest take on Hasan Piker. The honest take here from Tim Pool, Tim is the one that purports himself to be for free speech. So the honest take here would be, this is at the very least, this is a sad situation that Hasan Piker, whether I agree with him or not, that there are pressures outside of the market demand. Hasan Piker has millions of followers. There's a market demand for what he's doing. So for advertisers not to want to advertise for him is not how the free market works. Classic liberal like Tim Pool on Timcast here is supposed to support the free market. Why is he against the free market? Because Ben Shapiro threw him a few shekels. That's why.
You can be critical of Israel and there's no problem. Some people certainly exaggerate and say that, no, you can't. They'll come for you. It depends on what you're saying in your criticism.
Oh,
like,
wow.
You know, the things Hasan Piker has said about October 7th and his stances, they go a little far.
Oh.
And I'm not saying he's extreme. I'm saying they go far in one direction. And
what does that mean? I don't know what Tim's saying here. He's not breaking any laws, so I don't care. What's the position? He's going too far? So the advertisers aren't, and Tim mentioned adpocalypse. And if you don't know, there's this thing with Twitch. I don't really mess with Twitch a lot. So I just seen this in the news. If you know Twitch, comment please and educate. What I've heard is, just from reading, that they have lost a lot of people from large to small streamers on Twitch have lost 95% of their earnings, or up to that point. People who are making 10,000 a day down to 2,000 per day for the obviously the large broadcasters, but even for the smaller ones, proportionately they're feeling a pinch. Major advertisers like JP Morgan, AT&T, and Dunkin' pulled their ads from Twitch. Why? Concerns about political content and sensitive social issues. There's only one issue they care about. That's why Tim's talking about it. Stay till the end, and I'm going to have, this could be a shocking take. I'm going to make a prediction that is, I think, would be shocking to some people, that I think is going to be a change, actually for a positive. If you believe in free speech, it might be for a positive.
A lot of people, as it pertains to Israel, they make it their whole identity.
So what?
Advertisers don't want to be associated with something that's going to cost them money. So
how does it cost them money, Tim? We're not going to make it through this segment. He's triggering me. He's triggering me right now. If Hasan Piker has millions of viewers, how does it cost the advertisers money to advertise on the show? Who's boycotting him? Where have we seen that?
if you are talking about race issues and you're hyper-focused on crime rates of the black community, you can talk about it, nobody cares. But if it's all you talk about, advertisers are going to say no. Democrats probably won't go this direction. That's probably why Fox News is criticizing them. But they are going to go for many of these other liberal creators who I'm not going to mention because I don't want to give them any airtime on that regard.
What? Man, we're not going to make it through this one. Gosh, man, the people that I want to say used to respect, man, I don't even know. I don't know what this is. I don't know who this is. This is not the Tim Pool that I watched every day starting in 2020. I'm not going to mention the leftists because I don't want to give them what? You don't want to give them what? What are they, evil now, Tim? What is going on? You can disagree with them, and you don't want to mention Hasan Piker's name? What's wrong with Hasan Piker? I know Hasan Piker and Tim have history. Let me let this breathe, and then I'll give some more context to this.
Fox News says Harris's former deputy campaign manager, Rob Flaherty, said during a recent interview that Democrats are losing hold of culture and laid out a strategy for them to develop a whole thriving system ahead of future elections. We need a whole thriving ecosystem. It's not just Pod Save America, though I think we should have more of them. It's not just Hasan Piker. We should have more Hasan Pikers. It's also the cultural creators, the folks who are one rung out, who influence the nonpartisan audience. Those things all need to happen together. The reality is, it's not going to be big media organizations. It's going to be a network and constellation of individual personalities, because that's how people get their information now, he added.
Is he worried about a lawsuit? Tell me. He just mentioned Pod Save America, which is a corporate nonsense pod. They try to cosplay like they're, progressive. It's trash. But Hasan Piker, I think, is a real progressive. Agree or disagree with his stances. And he's a great streamer. I mean, the guy streams hours and hours and hours and just knows how to present stuff. How do you there's no way to have the following and respect that he has with a lot of people without being a great streamer, whether you agree or disagree with a lot of what he says. So who is Tim talking about? Was that a lawsuit type of concern? I don't think so. I don't understand why Tim said, well, I'm not going to mention the ones on the left. I don't understand.
Flaherty, who previously served as the director of digital strategy for the Biden White House, is likely to face backlash for calling for more Hasan Pikers due to Piker's past controversial comments. He had previously raised more than $1 million for Palestinian aid, used his platforms with millions of followers to downplay and justify attacks such as October 7th and 9/11 as acts of resistance in recent years.
So what?
Yeah, he said something nasty about 9/11.
So what?
Did nasty stuff about Dan Crenshaw's eye. I mean, a little crass.
What?
During a 2019 live stream, Piker praised the brave.
Tim, this isn't 1990. This isn't 2008. This isn't even 2014. the right is crashing out on. The right doesn't see eye to eye with Dan Crenshaw. The right doesn't have the same vision as Dan Crenshaw. The right isn't trying to ignore the problems that they see visually with Dan Crenshaw. The right is there's many people on the right who are crashing out on Dan Crenshaw. Is Tim now shilling for Dan Crenshaw? Wow.
Effing soldier who wounded Dan Crenshaw while he was deployed in Afghanistan as a Navy SEAL, asking, didn't he go to war and like literally lose his eye because some mujahideen, a brave effing soldier, effed his eye hole with their D? Yikes, man.
Bars.
Is that what Democrats are going for? Holy smokes.
Democrats?
Look, this is what they're going for. They're
Democrats, I'm going for it. I'm certainly not a Democrat. I don't know what politically I would say I align with young Nick. Whatever you describe that's where I'm at probably. I have some libertarian leanings as well, but I'm not a Democrat, that's for sure. And I've crashed out on Dan Crenshaw. Everybody is cat turds crashed out. Tim Pool is basically to the establishment side a cat turd at this point. Like we're telling jokes like, what's Dan Crenshaw's favorite game? I Spy. They say Dan Crenshaw sees things clearly half the time. Dan Crenshaw walked into a bar and said, didn't see that coming, at least on my right, or whichever eye it is. I forget. I think it is the right one. Dan Crenshaw, what's his favorite movie genre? Obviously, okay, Pirates of the Caribbean. Dan Crenshaw doesn't blink during debates. He just gives you the look. We just keep telling jokes about this dude. That's not the Democrats. I don't know where Tim is, man. Tim's lost right now.
Praising the murder of that CEO. This is what they're going for. He went on to say that America deserved 9/11, saying before later walking it back, saying it was inappropriate. However, in another stream this year, he joked about 9/11 again, saying, oh my God, 9/11-2 is going to be so sick, and give Saudi Arabia a nuke so they can do 9/11-2. Wow, that's cheese, dude. In another stream, Piker broadcast propaganda from the Houthis, an Iranian-backed group in Yemen. So we get it. Okay, guys, I'm not here to rag on Hasan Piker. I know people don't like him. They're going to mention that Hasan said Hamas was the lesser evil next to Israel. His Twitch streams regularly hit more than 1 million views and often have as many as 30,000 viewers at a time. You know, we here at Timcast are rather proud of flying under the radar over and over again. For some reason, we rarely ever get mentioned. I think I'm good at hiding in this cave and not doing external press. Though I do think, our media strategy is largely that it has to change.
Whoa.
I want to talk to you about where we're currently at and why this story is big. This is the war, my friends. The media is coming. They're praising Hasan Piker. It's exactly what I predicted. We are going to see more of this moving forward. I got a response on the comment section from Candace Owens about what I said. And I think there's a lot to bring up in this. So I definitely want to get into more of Candace's argument and the point she's making, because I'm not saying she's wrong at all. I largely agree with her and the issues at play and where we go media-wise. With the Democrats calling for more Hasan Pikers, I'm going to reiterate, Brett Cooper launching her own channel is a good thing. Certainly, you wanted her to retain the massive marketing efforts of the Daily Wire. She's not going to, but I think she'll be all right. Reagan, replacing Brett, is going to get the massive infrastructure of the Daily Wire. Is that what people are mad? Like, honest question for those in the comments. Is the issue that the Daily Wire spends a ton of money promoting and building up this channel and you want Brett to have that capability? I think she's going to find a way. Having another Reagan is really good. It's really annoying how people just want Daily Wire to be evil. I really just don't like the people who make their whole identity Israel.
Uh-oh.
Guys.
Here we go.
You criticize the Daily Wire, you criticize Israel. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the people who are obsessed with nothing but Israel and criticize Daily Wire in that vein.
Oh, what does that mean? So whether somebody's obsessed with something or not doesn't change the take. So if I'm obsessed with 2 + 2 = 4, you can clown me for being obsessed about it, but 2 + 2 = 4. Is there a counter argument that you have, Tim? You're becoming obsessed about accusing other people of being obsessed about the tiny hat country. You are under the wing of the tiny hats. You've got Mr. Tiny Hat. Well, his hat is bigger than the others. Ben Shapiro, the country he loves. Allegedly, I haven't heard anything since the news broke a couple days ago, that the Daily Wire is looking at buying out Tim Pool. You just hear him talk. Obviously, that's on the horizon. This is Tim Pool, everybody.
Guys, you can criticize the Daily Wire. You can criticize Israel. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the people.
Okay, so we can do that. What can't we do, Tim?
People who are obsessed with nothing but Israel and criticize Daily Wire in that vein. Okay? If you're critical of Daily Wire, you're allowed to be.
Okay. So what are we not allowed to be? Or what are you not okay with?
Not saying that.
What are you
But we
saying?
need more people in the space. We need more investment. We need, they're outright saying they want more Hasan Pikers. Well, we want.
What's wrong with that? Of course. I mean, Hasan Piker, he challenges the Democrat Party. I have no problem with that. I will not agree with him on everything, but I obviously am not agreeing with Tim Pool on everything.
We want more Brett Coopers. We want more people who are going to be calling out the lies, the cheating, and the stealing. And
Do we want more Brett Coopers? I like Brett Cooper. Go back and look at previous stream I've talked about. I've always been a fan of Brett Cooper, but she's basic. And she has her role, but I would never say we need more Brett Coopers. We need more courage. When's the last time you heard Tim Pool have a courageous take? I'll wait. That's why Salty Cracker clowns him, and I like both of them, and I still like Tim. I'm struggling to figure out why now, to be honest with you. But I still like Tim. I still got to respect his work ethic. But when is the last time he said something courageous? I can't even think of it. Tim Pool, Jack Posobiec, Ashley St. Clair. But you look at Hasan Piker, I've heard him say a lot of courageous things, even though he's inconsistent. For example, he talked about the sunflower country over there, Russia, Ukraine. And his take there he's not anti-war there like he is in the Middle East. But still, he will take courageous stances, at least some. Tim, you take none. So that's fine. Count your shekels. I'm perfectly fine with that. But don't come to me with this righteous indignation. You don't have the moral high ground. Don't sound like this to me.
And if we don't focus on what, like Reagan and Brett are of comparable cultural worldview, despite any personal drama or beef that people may perceive. I don't know. I don't care. What we don't want is more Hasan Pikers.
Wow.
Hasan's welcome to come on the show and debate anytime.
What happened
He's
to
going to stand
Tim?
by his ideas. But if
okay, I've had enough. I've had enough. I don't know what happened to this, bro. What we don't need is more Hasan Pikers. Why? I don't understand that. What we don't need is more Kamala Harris's, Joe Biden's, and that elk. Hasan Piker is way down. And I wouldn't even say that about Hasan Piker, but they have history. They got beef. So just to make sure we didn't lose the main story here that Tim was talking about, because he just triggered me off the beaten path. So we're in the final segment here.
To have the privilege.
We're in the final segment here.
Finish him.
So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna break down, just make sure we understood what the main story was. A Kamala Harris kind of staffer saying we need more Hasan Pikers. They want to go more, well, at least that staffer, more progressive. I'm all for that. I wish Trump would say that. I haven't heard him really say that about any type of person I respect on the right. But here's the beef. Tim Pool and Hasan Piker were going to do a stream together, and then they had problems. Tim Pool accused Hasan Piker of having a bad stance in Europe, Eastern Europe, and he offered Hasan Piker to come on the show. Hasan Piker accepted that he would come on the show, and then the last second he backed out, which is a B move, Hasan Piker. But Hasan Piker doesn't need Tim Pool, so I'm not going to knock him too much. Tim Pool doesn't need Hasan Piker. It's just to have the conversation, just like with Jank and all the others. Here's my shocking take that I kind of teased like half an hour ago. If you're still with the live, give the show a comment, like, subscribe. This is a little bit longer than I expected, but sometimes you get triggered and rattle on, and you're just going to rattle on. But this is the end here. I actually think because of the climate, I know what Nick's talking about. I mean, not Nick. I know what Tim's talking about with the mainstream is going to have to find a way to infiltrate the podcasting space. We just saw AOC go on with the Majority Report. It's Majority Report, right? With Sam Cedar, Emma Vigeland. I always want to call it the Minority Report. It's the Majority Report. AOC was on there virtually. And she's trying to get she's never been on there to my knowledge. I've never seen her on there. And it was a softball, but who cares? Tim did an interview with Donald Trump. It was a softball. It was a good discussion. It was short, but it was time crunch, but it was a good discussion, even though it was a softball. And you could say the same about Majority Report with AOC. They're trying to do the same thing. They want to build up the infrastructure. That's smart. I like it. You go and do that, you're going to have much better discussions, even in softball interviews, than MSNBC, because you have the reaction, all that stuff. It's much better. But I think YouTube is going to worry about becoming irrelevant. Right now, the big story is young Nick. Somebody came to his crib and they had bad intentions. At the same time, TPUSA is going on, basically the RNC. The biggest story is young Nick, not TPUSA. If YouTube doesn't even have young Nick on there, they banned him. Mainstream, no viewers. People who want to know about Nick, where are they going? X. Democrats are all in a tizzy. Their pennies are in a bunch over Elon Musk and the influence he has. No one cares about the billionaires on the left side, but the billionaire for Elon, which I'm not allying with, but if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. But what you're doing, all YouTube is doing by banning young Nick is Nick Fury. Somebody put in the comments, if you don't know who young Nick is you're forcing people to go to X. You're forcing people to go to Rumble. They're not going to be on YouTube for the biggest story on the right. They have to go to X. He did a space today breaking down the whole story. Why wouldn't you want that on YouTube? Here's where I'm going. I think they're going to bring big prediction for 2025, everybody. I think they're going to bring young Nick back to YouTube. I think they're going to let him back on the platform. I don't see the benefit. If mainstream media has no viewers, nobody cares. They might as well just turn it off. Then it's all alt media. If it's going to be all alt media, who cares if the Daily Wire even buys out Tim Pool? Everybody's on X trying to figure out what the biggest story is. Everybody's on X debating the politics of it. Then they go to Rumble. What's the point of banning them if you're just pushing everybody to the other sites? And now you're irrelevant. Mainstream irrelevant. Now YouTube becoming more irrelevant. I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to let everybody back on, monetized and everything. I could be crazy. Let me know what you think. I want your comments on this one, man. This one was a crazy.
The next clip is ready below. Welcome to After Show Carnage.